the other thing that I actually love that we did this year that I hadn't even mentioned to you on the first episode that we did our goals is specifically for us in our home improvement. I made a whole separate column and I have January, this is our goal. February, this is our goal. March. That way we can break it down and say, okay, by the end of the year, hopefully we'll have all these things done. And that way it's just small incremental steps.
Good morning and happy Tuesday, Turkey Tots.
Good morning. How's it going?
It's going good. I'm sorry I don't have brand recognition in my coffee mug this morning.
It's okay. I'll hold it down for both of us.
Thank you. You're doing a great job. Also, I like your springy white that you're wearing.
Thanks. I try because I'm wearing all black underneath. So I'll just throw something on top that's lighter.
I have I don't know. I tried to put on something green and colorful, but it's not really showing up that well. Anyhow, everybody, happy spring. Spring is here. The equinox has passed. We are officially out of wintertime. Kayla just sniffed her fake orchids that I think you should put some perfume on.
That's a good idea.
Fake everybody out. Stick like a air freshener in between the leaves.
Mm-hmm. You'll never know.
Anyway, in honor of our springtime, and we've been plugging this for weeks now, but we obviously have our farts and crafts. I made it. I guess I can reveal it now. I give instructions on how to make a beeswax candle. I've made multiple iterations of them now. You can't see it on camera, but I also melted down beeswax again and did it a second time and put it in another like old candle jar. So that was fun.
That's fun. I didn't know you did it again.
This time I did a cheat code, and instead of melting the wax on my stovetop in a double boiler, I used, those little like Scentsy things that melt with little wax beads. I just put the wax beads in there and let it melt.
Oh, was it a better consistency?
Well, it took forever, but I was just up here all day for work. So I basically just like actually I did it in the container because it's just a little glass jar. So I set the glass jar on the heater. I strung my wick through and secured it. And then I poured the beads in and just let them melt inside.
Well, that's smart.
It was kind of easy. I didn't add the coconut oil that way. So it's tunneling. Like it's not as good as the official way that I did it on my stove, but it was my fun lazy man's second edition.
I like that.
Anyway, if you guys want the video, just click our link. Give us your email. We won't spam you, but you will get the instructions and then some quarterly craft projects.
Heck yeah, join us.
Currently scheming our summer one for next. Anyway, so in honor of the spring equinox, we are going to recap our New Year's resolutions. Because I don't know how we came up with this, but I really like this idea because normally I feel like people set their New Year's resolution and then they don't think about it again until the end of the year. And then they go, oh, fart, I didn't do any of that.
I do agree checking in. I guess we'll kind of maybe do a every quarter thing. I like that better because you can reevaluate what's working, what's not. Did I set something too unrealistic? How do I adjust? Or I need to just focus better on it.
Good pivots. I forgot everything I wrote. I mean, the spirit of things I've been carrying through, but it was even funny to just go back and read my recording notes for that day. But before we dive into that, I have a cute listener feedback for you.
Okay.
So this is Wondle Geek on YouTube. He is the one that inspired the episode that we did, the listener feedback episode. Yeah, about movies and like female characters. So anyway, this was in response to our alternative lives model where we talked about some different things, and you had said that in an alternative life you want to be a pilot so you can see all the aliens.
But I remember that. Cute.
so he commented and he was like, this was great fun. And then he said, you don't have to be in an alternative universe to be a pilot, and you don't have to become an airline pilot to see the same things that they see. During COVID at 50 something, I decided to become a pilot, mainly because it's something I dreamed of when I was a little kid and finally just decided to do it. I've got a ton of my flights, including my flights as a student pilot on my channel, which is such a fun thing to do. Just as a side note.
Yeah.
And then he put, if this is something you want to do and the bird universe seems like it might be, you can get the process started by doing something called a discovery flight. Basically, you go up in a small airplane with an instructor and they'll let you fly the airplane to see if it's something you'd actually like. I say go for it. The world needs more women pilots.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. I love that feedback. And I love that he's
so
going
cute?
for it. You know, what's really ironic about this? I said that, which is so true, but then I also think it's funny because Kenny is actually seriously considering getting his pilot's license. And he was just telling me about this thing called discovery flights. And
Dude.
I was like, well, maybe I'll just let him get his license and I'll get up there with him so that way I can see the shit that I want to see.
We should give Kenny his YouTube thing.
Yeah. That'd be so cool.
So he can watch some of them.
Mm-hmm.
So funny. I love how the universe works. There's a
That's
hawk
cool.
outside my window. Sorry. But yeah, thanks, dude. It was so fun.
I love that he went for it at that age. Like, well, I mean, that's not old at all. I think that's young these days. But I'm glad that didn't stop him. Hey, you never know. You can do whatever.
You could be a second in life hobby. That's one thing that I love is when people, I get, because I've seen it now with you and some of my other friends, like when you have young kids, you kind of get in the tunnel vision of just young kids, and then everything sort of narrows, it feels like, and then things open up again. And I think some people forget as their kids get more independent and then they have more room. I like seeing parents and people reinvest back in themselves, because it's an investment in your kids too, to invest in yourself and have new hobbies and do new things and try stuff out and just grow.
I love that. And one of us in this household will get our pilot's license. Hey, turkeys, real quick, we want to tell you about our fun new free craft corner. Every quarter, in line with the equinox or solstice, we are going to send out new farts and crafts projects. You can find the link in the show notes. Just drop us your email. We promise not to spam you, but we'd love for you to join us. Now back to the show.
What? Oh, okay. Well, I just basically gave myself back my list, or re-looked at my list of my original New Year's resolutions. So I don't know what you have. I can recap what I went over, or we can each recap what we went over initially, and then how are they going, or how do you want to do it?
I'll probably forget if I listen back, if we both say it and then both recap. So why don't you recap and then say how it's going, and then I'll do it.
All right. On my list. So I broke mine down. We talked about this last time as like words, which were the intention, and then the ways, which is how I was going to do it, because CBT is everywhere. Cognitive behavioral therapy. Anyway.
Thank you.
My bad. So I had 3 intentions because we revolted against New Year's resolution. But my intention number 1 was cut the clutter, and the ways I said, set aside time once per month to clean out a closet, donate items, throw things away. So literal clutter cutting. Do 7 consecutive days of no screens. And on that one, I don't know that I've been that intentional about once per month getting rid of stuff, but I definitely have like gone through and gotten rid of a lot of clothes that just make me feel gross, or that I don't like anymore, or just things I've been holding on to that I don't need. So that has been a good intention to have set. I've not done my days of no screening yet, but I'm aware that I told myself I was going to, and I still have time. But I have been intentional about like putting my phone down, or you and I have talked about it, listening to music when I'm running instead of a podcast or something, because it feels more I feel like I'm getting more into an artistic space and more a stress relief space when I'm running, listening to music versus suspending my awareness by listening to a podcast. Next, I said cultivate creative growth, and the ways were to finish the artist way, continue to do our quarterly podcast meeting, and gentle parent myself. And I also, my last one was foster a sense of spirituality. And that was going to be by continuing to do morning pages, which is that exercise from the artist way where you write just sort of, what is it, stream of consciousness, 3 pages every morning. Do a regular yoga practice, slow down and acknowledge divine guidance and give gratitude, and do my weekly artist date, which is another thing from the artist way, basically doing something that's a creative endeavor, or really it's another way of talking about self-care, but instead of the hokey, do a face mask for 2 seconds, trying to be intentional about having creative outlets that aren't specifically for our podcast, so that I'm doing other creative things and having other outlets and not burning myself out. So the things, I made a list because I love a list, but the things that I've noticed as an improvement since we started doing these, or with these intentions, that I've kind of have come out of it. That's what I'm trying to say. I've noticed I've definitely been slowing down. I've been cooking a lot more, but instead of cooking to eat dinner, just as I have to do this as part of my routine, I've been slowing down and enjoying more of the creative process of cooking, which is something I've always loved. But sometimes when you just get in the flow of weeknight life, it's hard to enjoy that. So I've been finding new recipes, and we've gone to some of the different stores around here that have different foreign ingredients and stuff like that, just trying to find different stuff to do and different things to make. So that's been really fun. I've been making a point to enjoy good wine, which Jason and I have been really into lately. So that's been fun, just like opening a bottle and cooking dinner together and hanging out. Probably going to slow down on that now that the weather's getting nice and we can be outside more. I dug my paints back out, and I bought some new canvas so that I can do painting again, which I'm excited about. I sat down and doodled around on the piano one weekend when I was by myself. I did get rid of a bunch of old clothes that make me feel frumpy and gross, and I just placed a new order on Fashion Nova, and I'm so excited for it to get here. And I ordered a size that will make me not feel like a can of biscuits. I started reading again, a Nerd Alert, like fantasy series. So reading for fun, not just education. I've got to keep myself in check though, because when I start series like that, I go balls to the wall. And then I've been intentionally trying to go see stand-up comedians. So Jason and I saw Tom Segura a while back. It's, I forget, some month in this year. And then we're going to go see Theo Von at the end of this month, which I think will have happened by the time this releases. And I'm so excited.
That sounds amazing. All of that sounds like such good progress. And also I love that you're seeing Theo Von. I was just watching his YouTube videos last night.
He's so funny. He's so quirky. And we're seeing him in New Orleans. And I'm just so excited because he's a Louisiana person. It feels like the right place.
That's really cool. Well, look at you. I feel like you've made good strides in 3 months.
I feel like I've done a good job of keeping them at the forefront of my brain. And to be honest, I'm not waking up every day with my intentions in my brain, but I think talking about them and writing them down, I've had more success than I have in years past. And my stuff isn't all that tangible. I didn't give myself, lose 15 pounds. It's something that's measurable. So I think that makes it easier too.
Well, it also takes the pressure off a little bit if you're the type of person that maybe doesn't need those exact tangible set, parameters. You're obviously making it more just top of mind. And if that's working, then that's, when you go 0 to 100 with the workout program, sometimes it's good for the first week and then you fall off because it's too much. So maybe just being more intentional is the way to go with some goals for some people.
Yeah.
I love that you're cooking more, not just to cook, but to like experiment and have fun.
It has been nice. And I'm always the queen of saying I don't use recipes, but when you're doing something new and need ideas, it is fun to flip through Pinterest and find stuff and look. And I don't know. I made homemade enchilada sauce one day. That was fun. I don't know. Just different stuff. Plus, I'm out here being a sourdough bitch. So that's been entertaining.
Hey, put that on your list. You've been making sourdough bread. Also, I find it funny that you have created, or not created, but made a homemade enchilada sauce. Was this an inspiration to me texting you saying that I completely botched my enchilada sauce? And I mean, it wasn't even close to enchilada sauce. It still tasted fine, but I just remember texting you and being like, what have I done? I have none of the ingredients for this sauce. And then that's my one true problem on top of just my lack of enthusiasm to cook. I feel like I don't have the weird ingredients, not weird, but like staples, but that you don't use all the time. I don't have the ingredients in the house, which then just causes me to be like, fuck this.
It's definitely a process. I feel like the more you cook, the more you end up with the weird odds and ends, and then you sort of have them around. But it was funny. I made that enchilada sauce around the same time that you did, not related. We just both were on an enchilada energy wave. But I had to go find all the dried peppers. That stuff's not easy to find. I had to go scrounge that around. And I've done it once before, or I made a mole sauce before, but similar thing with the dried peppers. And I'm not in Texas, and I am not in a Latino part of Florida. So that stuff is not easy to find up here.
I can see that.
So I had to be very intentional about making it, and I had to do it on a day off when I had time to go like scurrying about the town to find them. And I got lucky and I did. But yeah, no, I couldn't make that from scratch without having a day to find the ingredients, because that is a weird one to pull out randomly. So you're not weird. That's normal.
Thank you. I was like, this shouldn't be a problem. I have enough stuff here. Yeah, I was very wrong. That's okay. Going into my list, this was not even on my thing, but you and I have talked about this for years about me and my cooking. I'm fine at cooking, but I'm not great at it and I don't enjoy it. And so I think not putting the pressure of using a recipe for me once I know what I'm doing has been nice. Like making shrimp scampi and the enchiladas. And maybe it's not the authentic way to make it, but at least I'm making dinner and not stressing about measuring everything. And they're turning out great. And it's just been fun to be creative and like, well, I'm going to add extra this, and instead of that, I'm going to do this. And it's fun most of the time.
I think that's the best part about cooking, is when you kind of turn that corner, because you have to start you have to start somewhere. And I've always been lazy about measuring, but I used to always follow a recipe to some extent, or have one. And even now, like I said, I'll flip through and look at things and get an idea of what people are using. But it's nice when you can let the perfectionist hat sit off to the side and just kind of go with the flow and think, okay, if it says this much, I'm not too much garlic isn't a thing, so it's fine. Just right. And like you said, you can substitute stuff out. If it says you need black beans and you only have pinto beans, no one's going to die. But I think that takes some time under your belt to get confident with that. And then once you sort of have that base, then it's not so pressured.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing for me was, worst case scenario, it tastes like garbage and we order a pizza and no one died.
That's valid. That's so valid. See, we cook too late, so that's not really an option for us because everything's closed besides Whataburger. So
maybe just leave a frozen pizza in your freezer.
There you go.
And you'll just know it's there if anything ever gets weird.
That's smart. That's smart. Oh my gosh.
What's weird and ironic is that sourdough baking requires exact precision, and now I'm out here not measuring, weighing my ingredients.
Oh no, Kaylee. Has that bit you in the ass yet?
Oh, I've had a few flop because some of it, I mean, it's science and chemistry. So if your house temperature is weird, or if the bacteria wasn't active enough, or even the different type of flour you use and the gluten content, there's so many things that can go wrong. So I've had one or two that didn't rise how I wanted, whatever, and I just let the chickens eat them. I mean, it's not expensive.
Yeah.
But it is funny. I'm out here weighing out, flour, feeling like a drug dealer, sprinkling salt on it to the exact grain.
Oh my gosh. Says the person who never measures anything. That's really funny and ironic.
It would be fucked if I didn't. I recognize this is a requirement for baking, especially baking bread.
Yeah, that's true. Oh my gosh. Okay. My list to recap was also the 7 days no screen time. I agreed to do that with you, which I have also not done yet, which I am also aware of. We will pick a day or a week. But the top of my list, my overall theme was being present. And so the top of my list was doing more family time, coming home, not being on our phones, spend an hour with our son as a family because we get home pretty late. We only have about a couple hours until he goes to bed. We've been really, really good and intentional. I still think we could be better, but there's been a drastic shift between last year and this year with that.
Yay.
Yeah. So it's just like we have to remember to shut off our brains and get out of work mode and just set everything aside mentally and like physically and just spend time with him so we can play. Also, he's getting older, so there's just a lot more to do. We have to feed him and then bathe him. And then we like to let him play, read a book, get him dressed for bed, and then put him to bed. So that right there, even if we just did that, takes a lot of time. So we don't really have time to be not present in doing those things. But it's been nice to just come home and set my phone down and just focus on him and Kenny. I still think we could do better, but we're doing a lot. There's been improvement. The other thing I said, which this is also a fail on my part, was taking 30 minutes of time to myself every week just to do something that I want to do. I kind of forgot about this and I have not been doing it. I will say I have been going for walks and I won't listen to a podcast. I'll just be there in nature. Normally I'm with Caden, so I'll just be present with him and just be outside and realize like, hey, I'm walking, I'm healthy, it's great outside, blah, blah, blah. So that's been one thing. I had to give my mental space a break, but I forgot to do the 30 minutes a week. But we just got our tub fixed, so we have hot water now. So I need to make it a priority to take a bath and like take some time.
Even if your time for yourself is just you sneaking off of work for 30 minutes to go get a coffee and just listen to music loud because Caden's not in, it's fine. We already said it once. Because he's not in the back seat, so you don't have to worry about your trap music being inappropriate or whatever. I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's ways that you could probably sneak it into during the week. Not that you should shortchange yourself of time, but
if we have a really busy week and I don't have 30 minutes, which it's more than 30 minutes to take a bath by yourself. It's like a whole process. But yeah, maybe just sometimes I just like to sit in my car, like after work. I just sit there and decompress, and that's really life-giving.
I think the intention and the awareness of it makes a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. So we're getting better. Still room for improvement. I'm going to skip down to my next one because this kind of goes in line. My other goal was to lose a certain amount of pounds before the end of the year, which It's not the end of the year, so I'm nowhere close to that goal. But I have lost some weight. But more importantly, I'm not even really looking at the scale. I'm just happy that I've been consistently working out, whether that's going for a walk or doing weights. That has been so nice, again, for my mental state and just to feel better. So again, probably room for improvement, but we've been very consistent and I'm very proud of that fact because it's always the hardest part is to start. And so we're kind of getting that momentum going, which is amazing.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you set up your gym. I mean, even that has taken you guys a little bit of time just to set the priority and get it done and get it knocked out with everything else you guys have had going on. So I feel like just that's good. So you have the option to lift weights, and I'm sure because you and I are similar in that it just once you start doing it, your body remembers how nice it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the other thing is for us, you mentioned it earlier, you like your fantasy book, which I love that you're doing. I've never read any of those books, but I've heard they're great. You can go balls to the walls once you're in it. And so we're like very balls to the walls people with a workout plan or especially home improvement stuff, which I know sounds weird, but we love a good project. And there's so much that we could do in this house to get it to where we want it to be. The other thing that I actually love that we did this year that I hadn't even mentioned to you on the first episode that we did our goals is specifically for us in our home improvement. I made a whole separate column and I have January, this is our goal. February, this is our goal. March. That way we can break it down and say, okay, by the end of the year, hopefully we'll have all these things done. And that way it's just small incremental steps. So February was get the gym set up. So we figured it out. We took the time. We did it. This month it's really easy. We have like so many blank walls in the house. So we're just going to buy a mirror. And so some of the months are less crazy than others, but splitting them up is better for us because we'll spend too much money and too much time doing everything within a couple months instead of just like, okay, let's enjoy the process and do one thing at a time. So anyway, we're prioritizing that, which has been fun.
Dude, that's so smart. Jason and I have talked about needing to do that too. Some of our projects seem really big and really daunting, but that's such a therapy goal or therapy style intervention to what's the big picture and break it down into little measurable steps. And then you get the dopamine hit every time you check something off the list.
Yeah.
Such a smart way to do it. I love that you guys are doing that.
Yeah.
I feel like we're doing the opposite of shirking all of our responsibilities and riding the motorcycle every time it's sunny, which is a different kind of growth for us.
Exactly. That's huge for you guys.
But we do need to I need to copy you because we've talked about doing that before. And then if we don't actually sit down and write it down, then it just weighs on your brain that you should be doing something. Anyway, I love that. That's so smart.
Yeah. So that's been fun. My last goal that we talked about was our subs, our podcast subscribers and followers and stuff, more so just growing the community. So I looked back on the beginning of the year to now, we're up 56 subscribers, which is not nothing. Yeah. So that's super exciting. We're past the 500 threshold. Excuse me, my allergies. So I feel like we're making progress. It's only been a couple months and I feel like we've got some things in stores. So hopefully that, exponentially grows a bit faster, but I'm excited. Small progress is progress. And even if we don't hit the exact number that I said, which was 3,000 by the end of the year, even if we hit 1,500, that's huge. So I just think going forward is good. And maybe we need to, at our next quarterly strategy session, break it up like how we're doing our home improvement projects. Like what can we do and break things up, small, tangible steps.
I love that idea. I mean, we already know that Peep a rebranding in June. Yeah.
Yes, we are coming up. No, yeah, that'll be fun. So
sorry, I keep making weird faces because normally we record at night and it's the morning and the sun is coming directly through leaves into my eyes and the lighting is insane. but it
It's
just is
making a
what it is.
cool casting in the background, but it does look like it's causing some eye issues.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that, oh, it's not overly bright. It just look insane. Anyhow.
You look like you have a wind burn again.
I mean, I do. I do legitimately. I got sunburnt again on my face and then just right here on my neck because that's all that was open. And I told Jason, I was like, I have got to start spending some time outside where I'm not covered from head to toe in clothing except for my face and my neck because I am so pale. I wore shorts this weekend and blinded myself. It's like, golly, dudes. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Anyhow, well, I would give us a solid A on our progress so far.
Yeah, I think for as many people who write resolutions out, which we're not using that word, but for people who make promises to themselves, I'm using air quotes, most people do not even try at all. So the fact that we're hitting 75%, I feel like is an A. So, and we've still got 3/4 left.
Yeah, dude. I think the momentum is going where we wanted it to go, which is the point. Like, you want your scatter plot points to be going in the direction that you intended. Mm-hmm. Not that every day is going to be a straight line to success.
And I feel like my thought process, I was listening to someone speak, I can't remember who it was, but I feel like for people who are listening who have so many goals because they feel like there's so many things to tackle, instead of doing it all at once, I think I've done in the past where you take either a month or 1/4, and yes, you have all your goals, but you really focus on one that's going to make the most improvement for your life and overall happiness, and you focus on that. Because if you try to focus on everything, it's just like multitasking. You're not actually getting more stuff done. Mm-hmm. You just think you are, and you're really not making forward progress. So if you have a lot and you're feeling overwhelmed, maybe just pick one goal, set a time, whether it's a month, 2 months, or a quarter, focus on that and reevaluate it. And then if you feel good about that goal, you can move on to the next thing that you can prioritize. I think that's smart for that person who just has so many big things that they have to accomplish and it feels too overwhelming to hit them all at once.
Mm-hmm. I think that's really good advice. Just, I mean, like what you guys are doing with, we want to do home improvements this year and drilling down to make it specific and then prioritizing even, I mean, we did it with our intentions, 1, 2, and 3. And like you said, you pick, this is the goal of these 3 months, maybe drill down on 3 things that you can do to accomplish that. I'm all about parsing things down to smaller bite-sized tidbits so that you can feel like you're making progress, because that's always something for me if I don't feel like there's some type of progress. Same with fitness and weight loss and some of that stuff. I have to kind of reorient and make the goal to be consistent 5 days a week and feel the success in that, because sometimes, especially when it's not a lot of weight that you need to lose, or I'm, close to what is a healthy weight, it doesn't happen very quickly. Mm-hmm. So if I'm only focusing on that, then I get really bogged down in the lack of progress. So making it something that's attainable quickly so you can feel the momentum early and then let that carry you through to the end.
I like it.
Oh man, well, this has been delightful. I've loved reorienting. I'm feeling nice and balanced as we come into the time of equal sun and moon time at the equinox. Here's to longer sunny days moving forward. And hopefully everyone is not fucked up anymore from the time change if you celebrated in your state. I need to ask our foreign people if they do that, if they do time change.
That's interesting.
Or daylight savings.
A lot of people, I don't think everyone does, and I just found out some places that are maybe not as largely populated, or they're just not within whatever, they don't use the Gregorian calendar.
What do they use?
The other ones that I should have thought written down, but there's other ones that were previously utilized Gregorian came in later. And so it's not even 2024 for them.
I can't do this. I can't do this right now. On that note, you're going to need to do some more research and clue me in on more information about that. To our people in the UK/Australia, can you please tell me if you guys do daylight savings time? And for the people in the United States, I know that Arizona doesn't, so calm down. I see you.
What? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I only do because my dear friend Allie lives there. So I have to figure out what time of the year it is to figure out what time zone difference we have.
So sometimes she could be 1 or 2 hours behind you, and then the other times she's less 1 or 2?
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
Mm-hmm. So it's like half the year she's on Mountain Time and half the year she's in California time, depending on.
Is she like this where it's darker earlier and it's lighter later, or is it the opposite for them? You know what I'm saying?
I think they don't do daylight saving.
So wouldn't it be like this?
I think this right now is the normal.
Mm.
I think we adjust our clocks so that it's lighter in the morning for the children.
For the farmers, yeah.
I read something on Instagram that the farmer said this is not for them. Anyway, okay. We're gonna go now. There's way too many rabbit holes we could travel down, but I encourage everybody to check in on their New Year's intentions or resolutions or goals or whatever it is, whatever word you decided to use. See where you're at, be nice to yourself about it, and pivot if you need to.
Know when to push and know when to pivot.
Oh, I like that.
Alex Hormozy. Anyway, it's been a fun morning. Happy Tuesday to you.
You too. You and your accent. I love you, and I will see you next Tuesday.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.